know that the consequences of not doing that are horrific. But if you could just find a thing and work hard at that thing, you'll realize through that thing that you can get good at anything with time and effort. That's one of the things that I like so much about martial arts. They let anybody in. Anybody in, and then from that, from learning how to do that, you get better, and then you realize, damn, I can get better at anything. Because it's so. The first time I ever did jiu-jitsu, I remember just being manhandled so bad, going, man, I'll never be good at this. This is terrible. I'm fucking awful at this.
You pick the thing.
Yeah, pick the thing. Pick the thing. Whatever the thing calls to you. Whatever calls to you.
Yep, the desire to change, to not, to change those circumstances, whatever they might be. As long as you have to have that desire, the will to change those circumstances. That's your start right there. Man. You know how bleak it may seem, but if you have the will, the desire to change it, there's your starting point.
But can people just make that change? I mean,
yes,
look,
you can,
I believe they
but you
can.
have to plan it out. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan. And you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever shit job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you fucked up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. And whether it is you're trying to be an author, and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, god damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You gotta go. You gotta get after it, and you gotta have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something.
One thing in life, this applies to everything in life. Anytime you move from being normal to trying to be exceptional, people aren't gonna like that shit. Those normal people, it makes them feel like shit. They'll judge you. And nowadays, it's very easy to be a fucking coward. Why? We got Instagram and shit. Most folks don't tell you to your face. They go online, they post about like cowards. Don't let cowards get in your fucking head. And last thing, you gotta start arming your mind. Start preparing yourself for what's out here in life. Build confidence, build self-esteem. So if people talk shit to you, it doesn't fucking matter.
The people you hang around with will suck the fucking life out of you. Sometimes you just gotta be alone, man. Get your shit in. Those people who you saw down there in that hole who were there with you, who are your friends and people who you counted on, because you meet the people in the same situation that you're in life. Those people become your friends. And the second you try to get out of that situation and become better, those people are in that grave, in that dungeon, just yanking at your heels, man, saying, get the fuck back. Oh, no, come on back here, motherfucker. You ain't gonna make me feel like shit by you getting out of this hole.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
So I get that all the time now. People would constantly remind me of who I used to be back in the day. And they always come out of the woodworks, man. On the journey, there's always be that motherfucker in the sewer you came from that's grabbing at your fucking ankle as you're leaving that sewer. That's when to drag you right the fuck back down because you figured it out.
Opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. That's when you have your options. Well, your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities. Like if I had to, as a 51-year-old father of 3, married man, pays taxes, has a house and a mortgage and a business and all that jazz. If I had to quit everything now and struggle the way I struggled as a stand-up comedian, it would never work. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous. And most people want to take the safe path. And the safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation. Almost every time. It's hell.
Comes more haters. Don't make them hurt your feelings. Use them for fuel. Use them for energy. In times of need, put them on the fucking mental Rolodex in your mind. And when you don't want to do shit, roll through your brain. Pull up that motherfucker that you need. That person who said you couldn't do something. weren't fast enough, good enough, smart enough, whatever the fuck it may be. Use it for energy. Instead of killing them with kindness, torture with fucking success. In life, you have to continue pushing past the odds. Use everything this world has to give you for fuel. That's what taking souls is about. Don't worry about the elements and what's going on. You gotta get out there and get it. And that's taking souls, and obviously, he wasn't the only one that thought about taking the day off. Because the storm's coming in right now, and there's not a soul out here but me. One thing I found out in my life, I used to always want people to accept me and like me. So I became who they were. If you like something and I didn't like it, I liked it because you liked it. Become unapologetic of who the fuck you are in your life. If you get after it and you're a hard motherfucker, get after it. You gotta make yourself better than what you think you are. And what that requires is people to not fucking understand you, not know you, not get you at all. Look at you like you're off. Look at you like you have a problem. Don't worry about that shit. Be unapologetic. Get after it. Stay hard. Be who the fuck you are. I'm sitting there thinking, take a day off. No one knows. If I keep on thinking too, there's always someone out there who's working harder than you. I'm haunted by that motherfucker. Knowing that someone out there is willing to forgo personal desires and comforts, forgo sleep, forgo whatever it takes to be better, to be the best. In life, a lot of times, a lot of us have that person out there. There may not be a name or a face to him, but he exists. You make sure in life to think about that person. You make sure they put a name and face to it. You make sure the name and face is yours. You do the haunting. Get in somebody's head. Own space. In those times when you want to quit, because we're all human, you make sure you remember one thing. All those times and hours and days you sacrifice to be the best. Stay hard.
The real message is we all started from nowhere. I mean, we all had bullshit jobs. We all felt like losers. But through time and effort, you build a stronger human. You build a stronger body. You build a stronger mind. You build accomplishments and will and momentum. And then you look back and you go, hey man, I'm not washing tables anymore. You know, I'm not washing dishes. I'm not cutting lawns. I'm not digging ditches.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a different person now, but I used to be.
And these desire not to be there, but not to stay in there. That's what.
That's the hardest part, right? Is to get out of that rut. When you ain't got shit and there's nothing going on, to have faith then is so difficult. To have faith when you're successful, it's like, listen, bitch, you've been successful for a while. Of course you got faith. Just keep doing what you're doing.
That's easy.
It's it's like
absolutely right.
It's like you already got up the hill. Now you're just coasting.
Yeah.
You know, you're just rolling down the hill. Everything's great.
That's the easy
It's all
part.
smooth sailing.
Yep.
The hard part is getting up that fucking hill. Especially if you got a dad you're hiding from. Especially if you feel like you're a loser, or you never really had anything in your life that you could look back on and say, hey, I was really good at that. You know, and there's a lot of people out there listening to this. There's so many people that are in that starting point. Like the people that come up to you and say, I don't know what to do. What should I do? How do I do it?
Yeah.
How do I get going? But you're going to have to figure it out, one foot in front of the other.
Exactly.
You're going to have to find a thing and keep working at it and get better at it.
But a lot of us get our feet stuck in concrete. We get our feet stuck in concrete because we're afraid to make enemies. We're afraid to speak what's on our mind. We're afraid of being in that group of people. And when you walk away, we're afraid of what they might say behind your back. All that fear clouds your brain, clouds your thinking. One thing in life, you're gonna always have haters. Embrace them. If you can walk on fucking water, trust me, your haters will say you can walk on water because you can't fucking swim. Learn one thing, shut the fucking noise out. Embrace the fact that people don't like you. It means you're doing something right. Stay hard, stay in the fight.
The psychology is savagery. I wasn't the best runner, but what I did was I found the work schedules out of my competition. And I made sure they saw me running day and night. I tried to get in their fucking heads. Remember this. Stay hard at all times. Savagery.
The more I failed, the more my father's words would creep into my mind about how I'm not good enough. All this other bullshit he said to dehumanize me. As time went on, I started realizing the more I didn't quit, the more self-respect I gained. And the power was all mine. In life, it's important to do one thing. Many people will try to dehumanize you. It's up to you to find self-respect and dignity in yourself. You don't need a uniform to have honor. You need to have pride in yourself. Dignity. Stay hard. You can fucking achieve the absolute impossible. You don't need great parents. You don't need like a private school. You don't need to have this humongous GPA and all this other shit. What you need is the one thing I talked about in my book, which is straight up, brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world.
Also people that are going to be around that are always failing and always fucking up, and then they're always coming to you to try to get you to help them. They become a giant burden.
Yes.
They never look in the mirror and get their own shit together, and they're always looking for external help.
That's right. Always looking for external help. People don't want to go in deep, man. All the answers are inside of you. They can't see themselves doing it. They can't see themselves doing it. That's one big reason. The other reason is a lot of it is jealousy. When you set these humongous fucking goals and they see that you're getting at it, a lot of our family members, a lot of our friends, they're mediocre. There's always those couple of guys who are uncommon, who want to be better. But you make that mediocre motherfucker feel like shit. Whether it's your mom, your dad, whoever. You make him feel horrible. I've been there. I'm speaking from experience. When you get somebody around you, man, who's trying to be better and you don't have the drive that they have, it's a constant reminder of how fucked up you are. You have to know that that's what it is. Anybody in your course not saying, man, get after it, brother, I'm so proud of you, they have a problem with themselves. Because all you're trying to do is achieve more. If that's a problem for somebody, you have to look at them and say, man, you really have a fucking problem with yourself, huh? I had to stop giving a fuck about people. That was the biggest thing. I had to stop caring what people thought about me. I realized that everybody's fucked up. That's the one thing I realized. I walked around and I put these people on a fucking pedestal. Everybody was better than me. So I can't tell you anything about me because you're gonna judge me and I'm gonna feel even worse than what I am. What I realized, once I calmed my mind down and sat back and looked at how jacked up this world is, once you realize that you are not alone, everybody that's talking to you about how jacked up you are, only thing they've done better than you is they've hidden their fucked up world better than you have. That's all they've done.
And the suggestion that I always give to people is write down things that you want to try to accomplish. Just write them down.
Well, a guy said to me, he said, write the way you want your obituary to appear now. Sit down, write your obituary. He says, because that'll show you how far off your goals you are.
Well, here's a better one. Pretend there's a documentary crew filming your success story, and they're following you around right now. What would you do? What would you do if you knew that there was a crew following you around with cameras documenting your future incredible success, and they want to catch you in the act of it all? You would do all the right things you would have to do. Think about that, organize it. But we are saddled down by so many doubts and so much just mental horseshit that keeps people from action.
Every motherfucker that verbally and non-verbally looked at me, because you know that look they give you when you think that, you know, they may not tell you you're a piece of shit and you're nobody, but they look at you almost like, you poor thing. I got them all. I got them all on that, you know that little wheel you have with everybody's name on it and phone numbers and shit? I got them all in that motherfucker in my head. And I spin that bitch every motherfucking day. And I know right now, whether you hate me, love me, I'm a fucking dick, I'm a this, I'm a that, whatever you want to think, I made it. And I know all of you motherfuckers are looking just like Apollo Creed did, because I just kept getting the fuck up. And all I wanted people to do in my life, I wanted a lot of people that doubted me to look like Apollo Creed did in that 14th round because I got back up repeatedly.
You're a victim of any kind. Make sure you use that shit to become successful. Don't look for revenge. Look for the fucking reckoning. And I guarantee you, all those people who fucking you growing up, you might just be the boss. You're come looking for a fucking favor. And when they do, you got an option. Say okay, or do what I do. And say go fuck yourself. Ha! Beware of one thing, motherfuckers. Spitting in the wind. That shit comes back in your face. Stay hard.
Well, they just did a study. There's a famous Harris study on happiness in this country. I think 67% of people are unhappy.
That is fucked.
Here, I did this, Joe. This is a good test. Maybe you'll want to do this. I did this when I was speaking at an event for 500 Wall Street people recently, and it was fascinating. I'll take you through it. You can tell me if you're comfortable with it. But if you take all the areas of your life and put them in a blender, okay? So take where you live, your relationships, your finances, your health, everything. Put it in one fucking big blender and blend it up. And on a scale of 1 to 10, with a 10 being the Dalai Lama of happiness, and a 1 being a guy that's at rock, or 0 being someone that's at rock bottom, what's your happiness number?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty fucking happy.
Well,
I don't know. I wouldn't do it that way. I definitely wouldn't give it a number.
Okay.
Because I feel like that you're making something. You're turning like a constant state of thinking and expression and consideration. You're turning it into a number, and I don't like that idea. I don't like that idea because I think it's a management issue. I think a lot of what happiness is a management issue, and decisions that you're making right now, like you could be in a shit state of mind right now, but you could make some decisions to adjust that, and over the next couple hours, you'll get to a much better place. And these constant management decisions, they waver in and out of your life on a daily basis. Like this idea that you could have a good mindset and then all of a sudden you'll be happy. That's horseshit. Like it's like the tide. It comes in and it comes out, and there's going to be days where you're just not feeling so good physically, and that's going to affect the way your happiness level is. It's never static. It's never exactly the same.
True. But if you looked at it overall at 30,000 feet and you had to give yourself a grade,
happy as fuck is what I would say.
Okay.
I'm
so
pretty happy.
Okay. So I'll take that. I'll take that. Most people in that room raised their, I said, if anyone is 7 and, for anyone that listening that wants to do it, raise your hand if you're, 7 or below. I don't want to put anyone on the spot. And majority of the room stood up.
Right.
Being a 7 and thinking, like 7's a pretty happy number. Mm-hmm. But a 7, if my son comes home with a 70 on a test, it's a C-.
Right.
And all I'm saying is, what's interesting about the test though, if you do actually go through the process, for those that like go through and get a number in their head or whatever, or do want to give themselves a grade,
right?
Your brain automatically goes to a 10 and then subtracts the 2 or 3 things pop in that bring your happiness down. It's a great way to identify what's making you unhappy. And that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you started at 10, you're like, oh, fuck, my relationship or this or that. Usually it triggers an automatic, like, this is what's fucked up in my life response.
Right.
And it helps you identify. But it's interesting. We have benchmarks in so many things in our life. You have an IQ test. You have tax brackets to measure your wealth or financial statements. You have IQ tests. Like I said, you can get on a scale to measure your weight. But you're right. Happiness is one of those things. It's like, how do you benchmark it? You know what I mean? It kind of fluctuates, and
it's like hunger. I mean, it's something that goes in and out. It's always there.
But happy as fuck is a good answer.
Yeah, but this is something I've cultivated for a long time and avoided things that make me unhappy and figured out what those things are and been very rigid about eliminating them from my life. And one of the big ones is eliminating interactions with people that are negative. That is gigantic. And because I've realized that I'm not really as independent as I used to like to think I was. I used to like to think that my thought process was independent and that I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. That's nonsense. People say that because they absolutely care what people think and it bothers them. So they say, I don't give a fuck. But that I don't give a fuck stuff is almost entirely nonsense. You do care. And you care in both ways. You care if people are critical of you, care if people are positive of you, but you also care if people are living positive lives and they're motivating you. That's a big one. People are fuel, and other people, it's one of the reasons why I like talking to people, one of the reasons why I like to do podcasts, because I get a lot out of, like just talking to you about your time in the monastery or your push to get to that 100 miles. Like, you get energy out of people like that, and you think about this energy and you think about this inspiration when you're doing other things. And it also sets in your mind that when you meet these exceptional people that move you, like, what are the characters, what are the qualities that they have, what are the characteristics that they possess, and those things become significant and important to you. Whereas if you live around a bunch of people that are complaining and bitching about everything, and they see the negative in everything, and they're always whining, those people are the opposite of that. They're the opposite of inspiration, and they're mud. And you're just like, "Whoa." It's like you're up to your ankles in mud. You try to trudge through life. It's difficult. You're not light. It's not pushing you. There's not a wind at your back. The wind's in your face, and it's rough, and over time, I've learned that these people, you're not going to fix them. I used to want to fix them when I was young. I used to want to go, "Hey man, I see what you're doing. Like, dude, don't do that anymore. Listen, just do this and stop doing that and start doing this. And if you just work towards this, you could be successful." And then a week later, the guy's doing the same shit. You're like, okay, right. I'm wasting a significant amount of my energy on someone who doesn't want to waste any of their energy on themselves. And so managing the community and the tribe that you're in, making sure that you're a good member of that tribe, that you're doing your part, and there's a lot of cynicism in these days about inspiration and about motivation, because there's a lot of fake shit. You can go on Instagram and you see a million of these inspirational quote pages, and they're run by people that are probably depressed. You see a lot of people that are, talking about how to get ahead in life, but they're not really doing anything themselves. So there's a lot of cynicism involved in that. But there's also sincerity in it, and you can get, if you just look at it with a pure heart and a pure mind, you can get a lot of energy out of that. And when you're around happy, inspirational people that are successful, it makes you feel better and you get inspired. And if you act on that inspiration, your life will be more fulfilled. And it's not just inspirational in terms of financial success, but in terms of doing difficult things, whether it's running 100 miles. It doesn't pay you a goddamn thing other than the wealth of the knowledge that you can push yourself to such an extreme. Or anything else, whether it's someone who becomes really good at playing chess, or someone who's really good at martial arts, or whatever it is. There's a great feeling in these overcoming these difficult things, because life is never this just constant state of, I'm at a 9 all day, and when I'm with my wife, I hit 10. Yay! And I stay like that. That's not real. What's real is, like, you saying that you went to this monastery and felt all this angst about meditating and being alone and not having your phone and not having the input, but then when it comes out of it, then you have this reward. So you push through this, and you had these uncomfortable feelings, and you came out of those uncomfortable feelings with this newfound appreciation for time and this respect for your own existence in your own space, and carving out 3 hours for yourself a day. That's where it all comes from. It all comes from life lessons, and the lessons are learned through struggle. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that think somehow or another you're going to get to some place where you're living in silk sheets and you're getting your toes done while someone's dropping grapes into your mouth. I don't want that. I've never wanted that. That guy's not going to be happy. He's going to be bored. An hour into the grapes, you're going to get those fucking grapes away from me. Stop painting my toes. What am I doing in this bed? I got to do something. I'm not stimulated. The human organism, the animal that we are, needs constant stimulation because it evolved trying to find food and escape enemies, and find shelter, escape nature, escape the elements, try to survive. And this is the great joy that you have in taking care of your children, that you can protect your children from the elements and the enemies and feed them. And it's also the great sadness that you see in losers. When I see a loser, I see some guy who's 43 years old, lives in his parents' basement, and he fucking hates the world. I'm like, that was a baby. Man, this is a baby that somebody just gave shitty nutrients to, whether it's nutrients in the forms of food or in the form of thoughts and ideas and examples. And this kid developed these horrible, self-defeating patterns of behavior that have led them to this point where they're this middle-aged person with no future and no idea of how to get out of this rut and probably never will escape it and might just wind up sucking on a gun. You know, I mean, this is the world that we live in today. And I think part of that world is because we have been fed this line of horseshit that you're supposed to seek comfort. And I don't think you are. I think you're supposed to seek lessons, and you're supposed to seek difficult tasks and accomplishments. And through those things and through doing things that are hard to do, even if it's just a fucking 90-minute hot yoga class. I do a 90-minute yoga class, man. Those last 20 minutes, I do not want to be there, man. And I definitely don't want to give 100%. And I can cheat. I could kind of half-ass it. I can, but if I don't, and I get through it, when that time is up and the lady says namaste and everybody gets up, I'm like, fuck, man, I made it. You know, I lost 15 pounds. My fucking yoga mat is drenched to the point where I could literally wring it out and fill a jug up with water. But through that struggle, I will now have a better day, and I better fucking do it again tomorrow or do something else. Because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just going to coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello, sadness, my old friend. Hello, depression. Because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit. And that's just a part of being a human being. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. And we can pretend, nah, me, man, I'm just cool, just chilling, doing nothing. Bullshit. You're a fucking human. You're a human being. You evolved from the fucking hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers and people that were struggling. Those human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person.